Hello, everyone. My name is Paul. I am the founder of Woke News Report podcast, wokenewsreport.com, and the creator of Woke Board Game as well, which you can find more information about at wokeboardgame.com. Today, we're going to be talking about another woke topic. Obviously, it's the Woke News Report. And today, it's going to be the open borders. A couple of crazy stories have come out just recently that I came across that I wanted to share and talk with you all about. And remember, if you like this video, please like it, share it, be sure to subscribe. I'm asking you to do these things. If I don't ask, you may not. So I'm asking you to go ahead and like, share, comment if you have something to add to the conversation. I would appreciate it. We're going to start off with the White House. The White House has come out, the spokesperson for the White House has come out and stated that the parolee program decreased illegal immigration by 90%. So I don't know if you heard about this story or not, but it's kind of crazy. I mean, you know, she's in the White House. She's talking to reporters whose used to be their job was to find out if what was said was true. And most of them, probably 98% of them, as you know, they just take it for face value. Oh, this lady said that 90% less people are coming across the border. No, not really. That's not exactly true. And let me address something real quick. Before I really get started into this, why do the woke love the border so much? Open borders, I mean. It's one of the things that they always advocate for. You see AOC down there at the border, kids in cages and stuff. That was other people's kids in cages, by the way. Other people meaning other politicians, but she did it as a big photo op. She's out there crying and everything else. Woke love this, but what is woke? Woke is the top-down system put in place by people in power in order to depopulate the earth. That's all woke is. I say it practically every video. I hope to say it every video so that it starts to get through and it starts to resonate. Wait a minute. The 30 things that they have, including an open border, what is it all about? Killing people. At the end of the day, you can argue it's this cultural thing and that cultural thing and whatever, you know, however you want to frame it in today's terminology. But at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you're talking about when it comes to woke, no matter what it is, it ultimately lands and leads to depopulation. But this is the New York Post. She was ripped after claiming Biden parolee program decreased illegal immigration by 90%. Well, it seems that we still do have some reporters that like to factually check things. White House Press Secretary KJP was slammed by critics after boasting Monday about Biden administration's humanitarian parolee program. It's just crazy. She said it's come down by more than 90%, and that's because of this act. Okay, maybe not so much. There's a graph here that you can see. It's on the New York Post. There's a graph here that you can see that goes, oh, boom, right? You scroll down, you see these people. These are illegal immigrants, basically kids in cages. You notice all the fencing and everything else. I don't see what's her name? AOC out here, you know, standing beside the fence, crying right now. Photo ops and everything else. It's just a mess. And by the way, that's actually a landing spot in Woke Board Game. If you land in this one particular place, which is called Crocodile Tears, you have to move into AOC's border crisis, or Biden's border crisis, but it's AOC's Crocodile Tears, and you miss a turn. So That's pretty fun. If you saw my previous video on woke board game, now you have a little more perspective. These are people basically in a cage. I don't know where they're at, but seems to be there's a doorway down here with fencing and fencing around, and she's not out here crocodile tearing at all. So this lady, she comes on here like she does every day and just basically lies through her teeth. And how you get there as a human being, I have no idea. Nobody even really knows. But Twitter and Musk have this really cool thing, community notes. And it's not a popularity thing. It's not a you voted up, you voted down. It's an overall kind of thing where if you say something stupid like this lady said, that it's down 90%, you basically get fact checked by all the people around that are looking to fact check you. So this is the fact check. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Migrant border crossings in fiscal year 2022 topped 2.7 million, breaking the previous record. You're down 90%, she says. And yet, at the same time, 2.76 million migrants came across the border. Which is just, it's crazy. But that leads us into the woke part of this. So what is all this about? As U.S. fentanyl deaths jump, GOP casts blame at the border. This is a story that talks about how many people are actually dying from drugs coming across the border. And keep in mind, this metric of people who are dying from the drugs are also in the same year that the community note was made, which would be last year. That would be 2022. Where's the woke? Oh, here she is. Here she is. We have found her. To hear many of my colleagues, you'd be led to believe that vulnerable migrants are the ones bringing these drugs into the United States, said Rep. Veronica Escobar, Democrat, Texas, who represents El Paso district along the border. What we have failed repeatedly to do in our country is talk about the demand for the drugs. And the focus has always been on the supply. And I really wish my colleagues would be as passionate about addressing addiction and the demand for illegal substances as they are passionate about the supply of them. This may be the most unintelligent person in the entire world. Clearly, Republicans are addressing what she's saying they're not. If you stop the drugs from coming in, that is addressing the problem. It's not a supply and demand problem. And all of a sudden, by the way, she clearly became a capitalist all of a sudden. She all of a sudden understood supply and demand. Oh, well, there's a demand, there's going to be a supply. Guess what? The supply comes from the border and illegals crossing in primarily. If you cut off the supply, what's going to happen to demand? Demand's going to dwindle. It's not going to go away. There will still be a demand until those people, alleviate themselves of that particular drug or whatever else, or just move on to something else. But the idea that she's saying we have failed repeatedly to do in our country, talk about the demand for these drugs. Republicans are talking about the demand for the drugs. They're saying stop it from coming over. That's the supply part. The demand will take care of itself once the supply is taken care of. No supply, no demand. You'll find these people may go to other sources or other things as their demand changes. This is not a very smart person. And guess what? I mean, that's the woke position, by the way. And guess what? The drug killed some 70,000 Americans last year. So the woke position on this, according to this lady, and all woke people, really, is we've got to look at the demand side of it. We've got to figure out why these people have the demand. We can't do anything about open borders and stopping people with drugs coming in. We've got to look at the demand. That's what's important. 70,000 people die. 70,000 Americans last year, part of a growing trend of synthetic opioids that now account for more than 3/4 of all overdose deaths. I mean, can you even imagine? Can you even imagine 70,000 people? The woke agenda is alive and well. It's not hurting for deaths, so to speak. This is only talking about open borders and the fentanyl and drugs coming across. I mean, they have a global warming killing people all the time. Their global warming. It's not the global warming that's killing people. It's their version of global warming where they're shutting off electricity. They're shutting off gas. They're shutting off stoves. They're doing things that cause people in the wintertime to freeze to death, essentially. And we talked about that in a video not long ago. But yeah, so the woke idea of 70,000 Americans dead last year over drugs, to the woke, that's okay. We need to look at the demand and not the supply. Where's the supply coming from? The border. To say they don't want this, to say that they're willing to stop it, is not being truthful at all. This Jean Pierre lady, she says 90% decrease in border crossings. Okay. Well, just the other day, maybe even today, I'm not really sure when, but it was not long ago. Let's see when this was actually written. May 3rd. So this is today. Mexican cartel drug smuggler stashed 300,000 fentanyl pills from in an SUV gas tank. Thankfully, they caught this guy. The article says a crafty drug smuggler for a Mexican cartel was nabbed in the Bronx with 300,000 fentanyl-laced pills. Now, 300,000 is quite a lot. I mean, you go buy 50 tablets of ibuprofen, it comes in a little bitty thing like this. 300,000, we're not talking about a small amount of units. As a matter of fact, it says more than 11 pounds. At a time when our city's overdose rates are at a record high, the discovery of more than 11 pounds of powdered fentanyl and hundreds of thousands of fentanyl pills manufactured to look like prescription pills concealed in the gas tank of a truck near Bronx Courthouse is truly alarming. Oh, you think? You think that's alarming? It's probably not alarming to the lady in the White House that thinks 90% drop in the border crossings is real. They don't care about that. The lady in Texas that I just showed who says we have to look at the demand. What? What are you even talking about? It's not about the demand, it's about the supply. And at the end of the day, woke people love the open border. That's really what it's all about. Woke is about depopulating the earth. You have 70,000 people last year alone that died from fentanyl. You've got this Perez guy up in New York that was caught, I guess yesterday, 300,000 pills, 11 pounds of fentanyl. You've got in the White House, the press secretary saying that it's down 90%. It needs to be down 100%. Okay? It needs to be down 100%. 90% is a little too little.